Dante's Inferno, Canto 18. There's a place in hell called Melbolge, wholly of stone and of an iron color, as is the circle that around it turns. Right in the middle of the filled malign there yawns a well exceeding wide and deep, of which its place the structure will recount. Round then is that enclosure which remains between the well and foot of the high hard bank, and has distinct in valleys 10 its bottom. As wherefore the protection of the walls, many and many moats surround the castles, the part in which they are a figure forms. Just such an image those presented there. And as about such strongholds from their gates unto the outer bank are little bridges, so from the precipice's base did crags project, which intersected dikes and moats under the well that truncates and collects them. Within this place, down shaken from the back of Geryon, we found us. And the poet held to the left, and I moved on behind. Upon my right hand I beheld new anguish, new torments, and new wielders of the lash, wherewith the foremost bulger was replete. Down at the bottom were the sinners naked. This side, the middle, came they facing us, beyond it with us, but with greater steps. Even as the Romans, for the mighty host, the year of Jubilee upon the bridge, have chosen a mode to pass the people over. For all upon one side towards the castle their faces have, and go unto St. Peter's. On the other side they go towards the mountain. This side and that, along the livid stone beheld I horned demons with great scourges, who were cruelly beating them behind. Ah me, how they did make them lift their legs at the first blows, and sooth not any one the second waited for, nor for the third. While I was going on, mine eyes by one encountered were, and straight I said, Already with sight of this one I am not unfed. Therefore I stayed my feet to make him out, and with me the sweet guide came to a stand, and to my going somewhat back assented. And he, the scourged one, thought to hide himself, lowering his face, but little it availed him, for said I, Thou that casteth down thine eyes, if false are not the features which thou bearest, thou art benedico conscienamico. But what doth bring thee to such pungent sauces? And he to me, Unwillingly I tell it, but forces me thine utterance distinct, which makes me recollect the ancient world. I was the one who the fair Gisela introduced to grant the wishes of the Marquis, however the shameless story may be told. Not the sole Bolognese am I who weeps here, nay, rather is this place so full of them that not so many tongues today are taught twixt Reno and Savina to say Sippa. And if thereof thou wishest pledge or proof, bring to thy mind our avaricious heart. While speaking in this manner, with his scourge, a demon smote him and said, Get thee gone, pander, there are no women here for coin. I joined myself again unto mine escort. Thereafterward, with footsteps few, we came to where a crag projected from the bank. This very easily did we ascend, and turning to the right along its ridge, from those eternal circles we departed. When we were there, we was hollowed out beneath, to give a passage to the scourged, the guide said, Wait, and see that on thee strike the vision of those others evil born, of whom thou hast not yet beheld the faces, because together with us they have gone. From the old bridge we looked upon the train which towards us came upon the other border, and which the scourges in like manner smite. And the good master, without my inquiring, said to me, See that tall one who is coming, and for his pains seems not to shed a tear? Still what a royal aspect he retains! That Jason is, who by his heart and cunning the Colchians of the Ram made destitute. He, by the Isle of Lemnos, passed along after the daring women pitiless had on to death devoted all their males. There with his tokens and with ornate words did he deceive Hypsipyle, the maiden who first herself had all the rest deceived. There did he leave her pregnant and forlorn. Such sin unto such punishment condemns him. And also for Medea is vengeance done. With him go those who in such wise deceive, and this sufficient be of the first valley to know, and those that in its jaw it holds. We were already where the narrow path crosses athwart the second dike and forms about a buttress for another arch. Thence we heard people, who were making moan in the next bulges, snorting with their muzzles and with their palms beating upon themselves. The margins were encrusted with mold by exhalation from below that sticks there, and with the eyes and nostrils wages war. The bottom is so deep no place suffices to give a sight of it without ascending the arches back where most the crag impends. Thither we came, and thence down in the moat I saw a people smothered in a filth that out of human privies seemed to flow. And whilst below there with mine eye I search, I saw one with his head so foul with order, it was not clear if he were clerk or layman. He screamed to me, "Wherefore art thou so eager to look at me more than the other foul ones?" And I to him, "Because if I remember, I have already seen thee with dry hair, and thou art Alessia Interminea of Luca. Therefore I eye thee more than all the others." And he thereon belaboring his pumpkin. The flatteries have submerged me here below, wherewith my tongue was never surfeited. Then said to me the guide, "See that thou thrust thy visage somewhat further in advance, that with thine eyes thou well the face attain of that uncleanly and dishevelled drab, who there doth scratch herself with filthy nails, and crouches now, and now on foot is standing. Thais, the harlot is it, who replied unto her paramour when he said, Have I great gratitude from thee? Nay, marvellous. And herewith let our sight be satisfied." In this 18th canto of Dante's Inferno, we enter the bell bulge, which is Latin basically for the evil pouches. And so that describes this area. It's a series of ditches or trenches concentrically within each other that lead down ultimately to the pit where the devil will be at. And so all of these pouches have something to do with fraud, which Thomas Aquinas might more aptly call cheating. It's to deceive another so as to your gain and their loss. And so in this first pouch, we have the pimps and the seducers. The pimps cheat for the gain of money via sex, and the seducers, the end goal is sex. Or it could be other things as well. But the point being, sex is the vehicle used by both. And so it's fitting that if the pimps paraded women from buyer to buyer in life, they are whipped from demon to demon in death. And the second pouch, we have something far more humorous, which really shows Dante's combination of highbrow and lowbrow, his sense of humor despite the lofty material that he's dealing with. We have flatterers, and what's going on with them? Well, they're literally in their own crap, their own filth. And what's interesting is you can't recognize them because of all the crap on them. So it's rather fitting that from life, they spread so much crap, they talk so much crap that and because they thought what they had to say was important, or what they had to gain was more important. It was all about them. It was all about their identity. And so it's fitting then that they're so covered with their own crap that you can't even identify them. They both deal with the overwhelming fecal matter and the loss of self.